What is going on, all you Pokemon collecting maniacs out there? This is Ryan, the PikaPikaPapa, and in the past, you all have enjoyed it, where I've done, I don't know, podcast-style videos like this, where instead of all the graphs and charts, we just kind of sit here and talk about a topic. And so because you enjoyed that, unfortunately for you, you are stuck with a big, huge image of my ugly mug. However, thankfully, on this first slide, my ugly mug is muted a bit by the adorableness of my family. So that is all four of us. We were at Collecticon over the weekend, and we had an absolute blast. Now, one of the things I will say is the most humbling and enjoyable part of going to a convention like that for me is getting to meet all of you in person. Obviously not all of you, but those of you that I get to meet and get to shake your hands and listen to your insights. And my gosh, all of you are so incredibly smart. Like, it was just such a cool experience for me to get to hang out with a lot of you. And then, you know, I also thought it was really cool to see how far and wide everybody came from. I met people from Washington State. I met people from, you know, Michigan. Everybody was coming down into Orlando, and it was really, really cool. I was also humbled by the fact that a lot of the dealers, you know, knew PikaPikaPapa channel, and I think it's really cool that, you know, they try and keep their finger on the pulse of what's going on in the hobby. Obviously, they know a lot more than I do about what's going on because they're the ones doing the awesomeness of making a living and providing all of these awesome things for us to buy. So it was really cool to get to interact with all of you. The other thing I'll say is I walked away feeling really good about the strength of the hobby because I'm telling you, Saturday morning, the doors opened at 10 a.m. Now, we have been to a lot of Collecticons in the past. I think this was probably the fourth or fifth one that we've been to, and we go to shows as often as we can. It's a ton of fun to go with the family. But I will tell you this, I have never seen a line to get in a Collecticon so long in my entire life. So the doors opened at 10 a.m. We thought we'd get there a little early, about 9:45, and I can't properly put into words how long the line was to get in. Now, the Collecticon staff did a great job. They got everybody in a timely manner, but I will tell you this, we didn't get in until about 10:36, so just think about that. That was about 40 minutes after the doors opened for us to get in, and we were far from the last people in line. So many people were piling into there. It was absolutely crazy and very, very exciting for me to see so many people that wanted to be a part of the hobby. And I'm telling you, it was so crazy. Really, at about noon, 1 o'clock, I looked at my wife and I said, hey, let's get the kids out of here. Let's go grab some lunch, and then you all can hang out at the hotel room, and I'll come back on my own because, you know, it's a great place and it's very, very kid friendly, but it was a little bit too much just for them. So we dropped them off, we grabbed some lunch, they had a blast, and I came back. And I got to really dig into a lot of what was going on. And, you know, the other thing I'll say is I've told you all this. I come from the sports card hobby. I've been to more nationals than I care to remember. I've been to sports card conventions all over the place. And I mean, no offense to anybody who is still in the sports card space or to anybody who dabbles back and forth, but the people in the Pokemon space, they're just different. The people in the TCG space are different. It is a very warm, it is a very inviting. I think it's a friendlier, it's just such a wonderful, wonderful community to be there. And again, there's a lot of wonderful people in the sports card space, but it's just a different vibe. And I will tell you this, I wouldn't trade this for anything in the world. To be here with you all, to be a part of this amazing hobby, to be able to surround myself and kind of immerse myself in all of this is just incredibly awesome. And I want to thank you all because you all are the reasons this hobby is so great. It's not me, it's not any other YouTuber. All of you out there who are watching this, all of you are the ones who make this hobby great, and it's nothing that we do, but I'm certainly here to celebrate you. So again, thank you all so very much for making the hobby what it is today. Now, you didn't come here to hear me thank everybody. You came here to listen to what I learned at the convention, and there really were some very cool takeaways. Some of them were expected, but some of them weren't. Now, first and foremost, as one would imagine, it was an alt art palooza. Sword and Shield alt arts were all over the place, which I did, you know, of course I expected that, but I saw a lot of Moonbreons, a lot of Giratinas, right? I did not see a lot of the Gengar alt arts, right? Which was really interesting to me. Obviously, I had an eye out for that. There were some ungraded ones, but I didn't see a lot of the 10s. I'm telling you, the Giratina, there was one booth there that if they had less than 50 Giratina 10s, then I don't know, then my name is Sam. They had so many Giratina 10s sitting there. It was absolutely insane. They had like 4 pristines lined up along the back. They had the, you know, if you're into Lorcana, they had the Elsa enchanted card. They must have had 30 of those. It was incredible to see the number of alt arts that were out there. Now, I will say this, I know a lot of people were buying them. I talked to a lot of the vendors and they said that most of the interest was there and they were selling some. But on day 2, because I always go Saturday, I always go Sunday. Matter of fact, I like to do a lot of my buying on Sunday unless there's something I can't live without because I feel like you can get some better deals on Sunday. But on Sunday, there were still a lot of alt arts left in the cases, which was a big takeaway for me. I think that alt arts obviously are the big thing. Everybody's talking about them. But I do think the market realizes that some of these prices might be a little bit inflated at this point. So I think that there was, you know, a good representation of them. I think there was a good good amount of buying going on, but it wasn't what I expected. For whatever reason, I expected on day one to see alt arts everywhere. And then at the end of the day, I didn't leave till 5 p.m. I expected to walk around at 5 p.m. and there to be no alt arts anywhere to be found because there's just such a fury around them. Everybody was picking them up, but that wasn't the case. There was still plenty at the end of the day, and there were even plenty at the end of the day when we left on Sunday. So I thought that was a big takeaway for me as well. The other thing that was big is Japanese was everywhere. There were Japanese singles cards all over the place. There were some booths that obviously specialized that, but even there were a lot of booths that had 50-50. And I will tell you this, when I talked to a lot of the vendors and I said, hey, what's moving? I got a bunch of different answers, but you know what? I didn't hear one vendor, and I must have talked to, I don't know, 7 or 8 of them. Whenever I said what's moving, I didn't have a single person tell me Japanese, which was really, it was just interesting to me. You know, whenever I go to these Collecticons, I always talk to the vendors because no matter what I see, no matter what I feel, it's a microcosm compared to what they're experiencing. And not a single one of the ones where I had the opportunity to talk with and connect with them told me the Japanese was moving. Not a good thing, not a bad thing. We've talked about it a lot in this channel. I think the Japanese space, you know, is kind of rotating out of favor while we have the Sword and Shield rotate into favor, and we've got those alt arts, right? And Japanese will absolutely find its time again in the sun. But there was a ton of Japanese on the tables on Saturday morning, and there was a ton of Japanese on the tables when I left on Sunday night. Now, the other thing that I thought was really interesting too is One Piece was in full force. I did hear this, even though the people I interacted with obviously know that I'm a Pokemon guy. When I asked them what was moving, I had 2 or 3 of them who said One Piece was incredibly hot. Now, not a single person said Lorcana. My daughter, my youngest one, is big into Elsa, so of course we were hunting for some Lorcana cards, and she had a little bit of a budget, and she got a, not the big special one, but she got an Elsa and a PSA 10, and she was very happy about that. But it was hard for me to find a ton of Lorcana. There was some, but not a ton. But I will tell you this, One Piece was in full force. Obviously, nowhere near the amount of Pokemon that you could imagine. I mean, it was a small subset. But in a series of small subsets, One Piece was by far the biggest, and it was interesting to hear a couple different vendors say that even they were surprised by the amount of interest and the amount of just, I don't know, overall dollars that were being spent on One Piece. That was a really big takeaway for me because, you know, I've felt for a while One Piece is kind of the hot thing, right? I didn't know if One Piece would have the ability or the wherewithal to stick around for a while. But if you watch our, you know, whenever we do the grading card videos, we've seen, you know, there's always Monkey D. Luffy, which is up there, and now it's one of the most graded TCG characters month in and month out. So One Piece being a strong representation here at Orlando Collecticon, again, I think that could be a big sign of things to come. We'll have to see if it continues down the road. Me and my family will be at the Charlotte one coming in at the end of the year. I think it's in August, so it'll be interesting to do another download once we get done with that one. But a big takeaway from me was that One Piece was really, you know, seeing a whole lot of buying and selling and trading volume here at Orlando Collecticon. Now, the other thing that really surprised me, I don't know what I expected. I think I expected to walk in and with this recent rise in, Sword and Shield booster boxes, I think I expected to see Lost Origin and Fusion Strike and Brilliant Stars booster boxes in every single vendor booth because a lot of them probably bought at a really low price and this would be a great opportunity for them to cash in, right? They don't have to ship it. There's not going to be a lot of taxes on it, right? Like there's just a lot of opportunity at a show to kind of maximize your investment returns. But it seemed underrepresented to me. It really did. I didn't see a ton of Sword and Shield. Obviously there was some, but it certainly wasn't at the level that I expected. There were some really cool collector boxes out there. I did see a decent amount of Elite Trainer boxes, which was interesting to me. And I saw a lot of older Elite Trainer boxes. I saw a lot of XY era Elite Trainer boxes. I saw a lot of Sun and Moon Elite Trainer boxes. I thought that was really cool. And the other thing, last year's Collecticon when I was there, Sun and Moon booster boxes, obviously that was almost at the height of the craze. The Sun and Moon booster boxes were selling like hotcakes. It was crazy. I was watching these things sell left and right. And I guess that was why in my mind I expected the same thing to be going on with Sword and Shield. But maybe people are continuing to hold on to them because they think that they've got even more growth potential in the future. I don't know, but I will tell you this, I was really surprised at the lack of Sword and Shield booster boxes. And the other thing that was really surprising to me was Paldea Evolved, okay? I am very, very specific in what I go after. I tell you all, whenever I enter a convention like that, I have a game plan or else I will just lose my mind and spend all my money and walk out broke. And Paldea Evolved booster boxes was on my hit list. I'm like, if I can get them in the $100 range, like I wouldn't mind picking some up. Obviously, I think there's a lot of time left in the future to buy them in that price range, but I felt good if I was able to walk out with something like that. I only only found, I think, 3 booths that actually had them. The lowest that I saw it was 110. There was one on day one that was at $100, and that was gone before I could even get my fingers on it. But it was really interesting to see the lack of Paldea evolved. I did see, obviously, Twilight Masquerade just dropped. Tons of Twilight Masquerade. There was a lot of Scarlet and Violet base. You saw Obsidian Flames. But Paldea evolved was surprisingly underrepresented. I don't know if that's because a lot of these vendors are holding on to that because they think, hey, listen, why go ahead and try and make $20, $30 on this now? Or if I hold on to it for, say, another year, I could probably 2x the amount that I can make on it because they think that it's got some growth potential. I'm not exactly sure, but it's interesting to me when the people who make a living on this hobby, the people who have their finger on the pulse far more than any of us, are not selling a product like that when I feel like it is not in short supply. So that was a big, big takeaway for me as well. And then the last big takeaway, and I think the timing of this is really interesting because I just did a video where I compared Sword and Shield alt arts at buy it now prices versus some of the older cards that you can get at similar buy it now prices. And there was all kinds of input in the comments down below on that video, right? Where I looked at first edition cards versus Sword and Shield booster or Sword and Shield alt art cards. There was a lot of information in there. Now, obviously, I have built a ultra modern group. Like, that's what we are. I love investing in ultra modern. Like, obviously, that's not going to change. So when I go ahead and I do some vintage content, obviously, people are going to have a different opinion on that because they would be watching vintage content if that's what they wanted to see. But I did think it was really interesting because I did get to hear a lot of big deals going down, which you do at shows. You don't necessarily search for them, but just organically you'll happen to be at a table and somebody will be trying to buy 15 or 20 cards. And all of the big deals that I heard going down were around vintage slabs or older packs. Like older packs, older boxes. I shared this in a video on Monday. Like, I heard one deal going down, not a huge deal, but somebody was buying 4 Roaring Skies booster boxes and he got them for $550 each. That was really cool. I saw another guy who was trying to buy about 60 booster packs of 1999 base set. They were light. The seller was really transparent. He said, hey, listen, just so you know, these are all light packs. Like, I weigh my packs. All the heavy ones are gone. These are the light ones. And the individual said, I don't care. I think I can resell them. So they were trying to work a deal for 60 base set light packs, which was really interesting to listen to. And I saw all kinds of deals where people were trying to buy a bunch of older slabs. And anyways, without getting further down the road on that, I didn't see a lot of deals where people were trying to buy 4 or 5 Sword and Shield alt arts and some big cash deal. Maybe they went on, maybe I just didn't by happenstance be near them when they were going down, but I was probably around 4 or 5 big deals, and all of them involved older cards, older slabs, older packs, older boxes. It was really, really interesting for me, and it was a really cool takeaway. I also want to say that there was a lot of the older stuff that was represented there, which is cool because I'd love to get some more information on that. I'd love to deep dive into that a little bit more. So it was really interesting to see the representation of older stuff in a huge Collecticon like this, and that I have seen. I've seen that. I don't think there was any more or any less than I've seen at any of the cons that I've been to in the past, but for me, that's kind of encouraging for that space. At least it's steady Eddie, right? We see some of these modern cards kind of flow in and flow out. For example, I didn't see nearly as many Sun and Moon Chase cards as I did last year, and I didn't see very many Scarlet and Violet Chase cards at all. Obviously, some of them were there, but it was not that many. I would say this whole convention was dominated by Sword and Shield trainer galleries, alt arts, and then also a lot of the older stuff, which was really cool. So hey, listen, this is a type of content I don't normally do. If you enjoyed it, if this is the type of stuff you like, let me know in the comments down below. If you were at Collecticon, let me know what you saw or what you heard or what you felt was going on in the room. And as always, if this is the type of stuff that gets you excited, and I'd appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. We got a small channel. Those things help us out a long way. So hey, listen, I hope you have an awesome one. I hope you guys had a great Memorial Day weekend. And if I don't talk to you soon, then I will talk to you by Friday. You guys have a great one, and I'll talk to you later. See you, everybody. Bye.